Hey, you guys, I'm going to do a little catch up real quick of the hashtag Neopagan November, which was a tag started by Brittany, the sun's. Nobody can say it. Sunshine State Witch. So many S's. I've got my Sekhmet shirt on today, who I think was one of the last little shorts that I did was my Sekhmet altar, which right now Sekhmet is still on here, but Hathor's in the middle. So again, Hathor and Sekhmet are the shadow and light side of the same deity, basically. Hathor being the healing, nurturing aspect, and Sekhmet being like the sacred rage. So, love me some Sekhmet. Okay, so I need to catch up on herbs, family, thankful, black, and a secret. Herbs. Well, I am a definitely a kitchen witch. So I have always used a lot of herbs like in cooking. I'm not like, I wish I had more knowledge, and that's one of my goals is to gain more knowledge over like the different correspondences and things like that. So that's on my basically goals and to-do list for next year is to maybe take like a herbalism class of some sort. I do have a plate of some fresh rosemary that I grew, not rosemary, this is lavender that I grew in my garden this year. And it's snowing. So I went and harvested like a week ago the last of the blossoms. Lavender, definitely one of my favorite, which again, I don't even know. Do you consider lavender an herb or is it a flower or I don't know. I grow thyme, rosemary, and lavender, and those are my main ones. Um, I mainly have worked with herbs through essential oils that have already been distilled, basically. So I am, like I said, hoping to next year expand my knowledge of different herbs through taking some kind of courses. But there's my lavender that I have drying. Um, Family. So I'll probably insert a picture of my little family from Thanksgiving, who, of course, I'm thankful for, which is the next prompt. My immediate nuclear family. So I have two daughters. My oldest daughter is 23. She's now married and has my two grandchildren, Max, who is 4, almost 5, with a Pisces stellium, and my granddaughter Afton, who is 7 months old, a little Aries with a Gemini moon, and they are just the most amazing thing to ever happen to me. Of course, I love my kids so much, but I was like a working mom, and it was hard. I was a young mom, which was not unusual in the area that I live in to get married and start having children at age 21. But looking back, I definitely had a lot of growing up to do. So she's definitely following in my footsteps. My oldest, her name is Taya, and I had wanted to name her Aspen, and her name Taya came to me in a dream right before she was born. She is a Libra, and she has always been a little grown up. Always been a little adult. I never had to really raise her like as a child. She just was always self sufficient, and I love her so much. I'm so proud of her and her little family that she has brought into this world. Then my youngest is my baby girl, Sydney. We spelled it CYDNEY, so we called her CJ growing up. And she is a Cancer sun and a Libra rising, and she is my like she is a mama's girl. She and I are super, super, super attached. I'm a Capricorn, so she's like my, balance point. So we definitely butt heads. She's so much like me, but we are very codependent with each other, which is a good thing and a bad thing at times. Um, she still lives with me. Um, it's hard making it out there as a young adult in this economy and this housing market. So I'm just fine. We have plenty of room for her here, and I am fine if she stays with me honestly forever. Then my husband had 3 kids, and his oldest is trans. Her name now is Valoria. Her name was Van. And she is transitioning. We have a strained relationship, which is too bad. I hope that we can mend it. It has nothing to do with her being trans, although in her mind, I'm sure that she thinks that it does. And maybe that's one of the secrets. I won't go too much into it, but that's his oldest. She is 24, I believe. And then he had 2 younger kids who I have been raising, because when he and I got together again for the second time 9 years ago, his kids were just barely like 3, almost 4, and 4, almost 5. So they have been in my life now for 9 years, which is the majority of their life. And but they are now my stepdaughter Cameron, who her name is Cameron, but also her nickname was CJ. So isn't it such a synchronicity that like I had named my daughter CJ, and my husband, but we were separated at the time, like not yet back together. He had a daughter also named CJ. That was one of our synchronicities. So we ended up changing them. It was just too confusing to call them both CJ, so we just called them by their full name. So Cameron, who is 14 and a half, and then my stepson Gage, who has the same birthday as my grandson Max. So he's a Pisces, and they both share the same birthday, February 26th. So he will be 13 in February. So that's my family, my little, like, the people that count. But as I've talked about in a couple other videos, I come from a really, really big Mormon family. I have many, many, many siblings, half siblings, step siblings, too many to name and count. So those are the people that are important to me. So I already mentioned them, and I am so thankful for them. But particularly, I am thankful for the opportunity to do what I love, what I'm passionate about every day, and to have had it create so much abundance in my life. To be able to help others through my passion is something that I never, ever, ever thought would be possible. Every day that I walk into my office, I pinch myself. Every day that I drive home to my house, I pinch myself. I am in gratitude, and I am thankful every single day for my life. And I truly believe that, no matter where you're at, find the gratitude, and it's going to help propel you to better, more abundant places. I think to live in gratitude is one of the most important things that you can do. And even being grateful for the hard times, because that is where the growth happens. Rarely, if ever, do we grow when things are good. So being in a state of gratitude, I don't think that's the same thing as spiritual bypassing. I'm not saying you have to be like, oh, like everything's fine when it's not, but that doesn't mean you can't find the good or the blessing in it. You can still feel miserable or be sad or be stressed or whatever, but eventually being thankful for even the most difficult things is truly what it's all about, in my opinion. The color black. So I have never really been like, a super emo-y, wear black all the time person. But I do think that through my spiritual journey, through working with magic, and I guess you can call it witchcraft, I have come to a different appreciation for black through mostly working through the moon cycles, specifically the new moon. So, I think that people look at black as though it is a nothing, whereas I now look at it as though it's nothing and everything at the same time. It's a void. So it's basically just like a womb waiting for creation, waiting for you to fill it with your intentions or your manifestations. And so I look at black as everything and nothing at the same time. And I love to work with that energy. And so, yeah, that is something that has definitely changed. Not that I ever thought it was bad or scary or anything, right? But I think I looked at it as just more of a void than of the potential for creation that it has. So, and then the final prompt is a secret, which honestly, I'm a person that probably just puts everything too out in the open. I don't really have a lot of secrets. It's not that I wouldn't share one. It's just that so I feel like what had happened was when I was younger, when I was like a child, I was like a habitual liar. I lied about everything. I was the little kid that would like go tell like the most outlandish stories, which looking back, how I ever thought anybody would believe me, I have no idea because I wasn't even telling like good lies. I was telling ridiculous lies all the way through my teenage years. And I know now that was due to a lot of trauma and a lot of things that were happening in my life that I was trying to escape from. But once I realized, what I was doing or how I was living, I flipped. And now I feel as though if I don't disclose everything all the time, I feel like I'm lying, which also actually is not a great thing. And I want to work on that. It's like, again, when the pendulum swings from one side way too far over to the other side, and I want to try to get somewhere here where um, it's okay for me to keep things just for myself. And I want to be able to have things that are sacred. I like to use the term sacred, not secret, but sacred to me. But because of the way that I was when I was a child, whenever I have any type of secret, I immediately have a sense of shame and guilt, like I'm lying or holding something. So I'm constantly like putting everything out there, including like at Christmas time. Like if I buy something, I literally immediately have to tell the person because I feel like even a surprise, which is a good thing, I end up feeling like that is I just can't carry it. It's the weirdest thing. So it's definitely actually something that has backfired a little bit that I want to work on being able to hold things just for myself. So I guess that's just like my kind of philosophy about it. But um, so yeah, that gets us all caught up, and we only have a few days left, right? Tomorrow is taboo, which I do think that one I'm gonna go pretty in depth on. So we will see you guys tomorrow for taboo. Bye.